Well, welcome back everyone to a 57th episode of the Tundra cast. Today we got Rossi
What's up?
and Nick.
Hey, hey, hey!
And today we're going to go over the trades that happened over the trade deadline. It was a pretty exciting deadline, I would say. There was actually some action on the day. And a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of overpays, but the market was certainly high for a couple pieces.
Yeah.
And let's just get started. So we're not going to cover the trades. I mean, there's some trades we're not going to go over, like Giordano, Hamannek, Giroux, because we made videos on that. So we're going to just start with the Nick Paul trade.
And we probably won't be going over the ones that we went over on the stream.
We'll go over some of them. Like, if they're like very minor, we won't talk about them, but, let's just get started. So first trade today, we're going to talk about Nick Paul going to Tampa Bay, who scored yesterday for Tampa Bay, in exchange for Matthew Joseph and a 4th-round pick. Now, I think it's a bit of a draw, to be honest. I think Nick Paul is kind of like the perfect Tampa Bay player, but I do think Matthew Joseph still has a lot of potential in him. He's still young. I think he'll get his ice time in Ottawa, and, they got a young player back for an upcoming UFA and a draft pick.
Yeah, I think Joseph's kind of like almost like a really good fit, almost perfect fit for Ottawa, just based on the type of players they have on their team. I also find it really funny that Paul scored his first game because Joseph got killed his first game. You see that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was. Yeah.
He's pretty decent though. Like, I don't mind him at all.
I think whoever wins this trade, I think it all depends on how Joseph develops and what Ottawa decides to do with that 4th-round pick.
True. Joseph had 18 points in 58 games on a 4th line in Tampa. He'll get 3rd line, maybe 2nd line ice time in Ottawa. I think his stats will improve. He's an RFA. He's gonna stay in Ottawa, and he's only 25, right? So, and he's back home. That's the most important thing. So I think I really like this fit for Ottawa a lot. And that's really about it for that trade. Nothing special. Next, now this trade, this is a trade that raised the defenseman price. It wasn't Ben Sherratt, it was Jeremy Lizon going for a 2nd-round pick to Nashville. I want to hear from Rossi first because I don't really know his thoughts on the trade all too much.
Well, Lizon played the 2 games since he came to Nashville. So he played against Anaheim on the 21st, and then he played against LA on the 22nd.
How's he been?
He's been okay. He hasn't. I don't think he's gotten any points with us yet.
Yeah.
But he's been physical. He's exactly what we want. What the Predators wanted from that trade, basically, is getting a physical defenseman to have. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions with the Luzon trade.
I think that's exactly what they wanted. Yeah, like you look at a guy like Myers, that's kind of what they wanted in Myers, I feel like, but it just didn't work out for him.
And Lizon's only 24. He's an RFA, so now he's going to have his rights.
Yeah, he's still young enough. They can develop him. And
that's why I think the misconception comes from, because a lot of people are seeing it as a rental.
Yeah.
And Lizon is anything but a rental for the Predators.
Right. And speaking of Felipe Myers, he just loaned him to Toronto an hour ago. So but we'll see. Maybe Myers gets bought out in the off season. So,
I don't think the Predators buy him out. If anything, they trade him.
That's gonna be a tough contract to move though, because he makes $2.5 million. Maybe there's something. Maybe Arizona will take him for whatever, or maybe we'll. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Felipe Myers. The next trade also involves Seattle. It's Mason Appleton going back to Winnipeg for a 4th-round pick. And I like this for the Jets. They didn't really give up much. They know what they have in Appleton because he's played there before. He's a good middle 6 guy. He knows the team well. Don't really see a lot of issues with this trade. Maybe Seattle could have gotten more, especially considering what the prices were for forwards at the deadline. But I don't mind it all too much.
Yeah,
it's just kind of a weird team in the deadline.
Pardon?
So the Jets were kind of a weird team in the deadline. I don't know. They were selling, but they were
they're selling and buying.
Well. Yeah.
They also got Sanford, who we'll talk about a bit later. But yeah, it was a weird deadline for the Jets, especially since they didn't trade Paul Stastny, which kind of shocked me.
How much is he making, Paul Stastny now? I know he's making a lot before.
Probably like $3 million, right? 3.5.
He's a little bit older too, so like he would have been probably good for a playoff team. So
that's what I was thinking.
Not a bad shout.
Like 50% retained as a good bottom 6 vet who can that would be it would have been a good deadline acquisition.
I didn't think of that one actually.
But yeah, I mean nothing else to say here. It's kind of small. Nathan Beaulieu going into the Pittsburgh Penguins for a conditional 7th. Condition is if the Penguins win 3 playoff series and Beaulieu plays in at least 50% of the games,
he won't.
They'll get the pick, which means I don't think they'll get the pick. But
he's not really going to play. He's kind of there for in case our defense gets hurt or anything. So
right,
yeah, he'll be like an 8th D.
And he kind of sucks, so there's that too.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, 4 assists in 24 games, that's whatever, playoff depth. Now, Jack Mcbengal in Arizona for a second-round pick, and I'm not the biggest fan of Jack McBain. I think he's going to top out as a bottom 6 forward, and, like, I don't know, this kind of gives me, like, Jimmy VC vibes.
Yeah, same here. I was a big fan of McBain when he was drafted. I thought Minnesota were going to get themselves a steal, but it is what it is with McBain. I mean, like you said, he's probably like a bottom 6. From what I've seen and what I've read, he's more like a bottom 6 potential guy. So, I mean, whatever. I mean, if you're Arizona, you take the kid and you hope that he becomes something better, but we'll see what happens with him.
And Arizona has a draft capital to spend on a Jack McBain, right? If he doesn't pan out, it won't hurt them too much. Yeah,
honestly, like a second-round pick isn't the worst price to pay either for a guy like him. So, it is what it is.
Right. Any thoughts, Rossi?
I mean, not really. I think the second-round pick is a little bit pricey, but at the same time, it is Arizona.
It is Arizona, yeah.
Yeah. It is Arizona. They have a surplus of picks. I'm not too big on Jack McBain, but maybe he becomes something more. And if he doesn't, hey,
it's whatever.
It's whatever.
Next trade, Marcus Johansen is going back to the Washington Capitals, the team he's played with before. And I feel like they kind of overpaid here. They gave up Daniel Sprong, who actually scored last night for the Seattle Kraken. So first goal of his new team. A 4th-round pick and a 6th-round pick. And, I mean, you know, like, I kind of like him for Seattle. I still have high hopes in Daniel Sprong. He's only 24, 25 years old. He hasn't really gotten the best opportunity in Pittsburgh. When he was in Pittsburgh, he didn't get the best. I mean, when he played ice time in Anaheim, he had like 15 goals. Then he just shipped them off. And even in Washington, he was buried in the bottom 6. I think he needs the ice time to grow. And I think Seattle's a good place for him because they're going to be rebuilding for a while. They need those young players. And, I mean, Sprong's a skilled player. I mean, he's not a guy that can play in your bottom 6. You have to play him in the top 6. And I think he's going to be a perfect fit for them, man. For the return they got for Marcus Johansen, a player who's fallen off since his first stint in Washington, I like it.
Yeah, I agree. He's a good player. Like, he can score goals. He's a skilled player. He's had spurts where he's looked really, really good. He's just been more inconsistent than anything. But I think you're right. I think Seattle's a perfect place for him to go where he can get some ice time and kind of start playing good again. So
yeah. Like, this is a guy that had 14 points in 47 games last year. Yeah. 20 points in 42 games last season. With Anaheim, when he was traded from Pittsburgh to Anaheim, he had 19 and 47. Like, he's a guy that can probably get you 35, 40 points in a full season. Like I said, he just needs that ice time. He's still young, and he's in RFA at season's end. So, you know, I really like it.
Yeah, when we traded him, I wasn't a fan of when we traded him either. I remember wanting to keep him. So
you got, I think, Marcus Pettersson back, right?
Yeah, I think that was it. Yep.
Yeah. And, I mean, also, I mean, for Washington, too, I mean, it's not that bad because, I mean, you know what you have in Marcus Johansen. He's played there before. He's not the same player as he was back then, but, like, who knows? Maybe he can rediscover his old self there. That's the hope. Next trade, Brian Little's contract going to Arizona. Arizona just acquires every contract.
Do we even need to talk about this one?
Not really. Just how I mean, just maybe the fact that Arizona gets every dead contract in the world.
Man, if these players were still playing like 10 years ago, like they would be cups. Like they'd be cupping.
They'd be cupping, right?
Yeah,
Didn't they get Chris Prongers a while back?
They got Datsuk. They got Pronger. They've got a bunch of Hossa, I think, too. Like
they got Hossa.
Hold on, I'll look it up right now. Andrew Ladd, Brian Little, Antoine.
I was supposed to say Kessler, but we'll get to that.
More. Okay, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
I'm not reading all of these.
Next trade, and this one was okay. Okay. So this is a bit out of order. So let's go. So first, let's mention the Flurry trade. Marc-Andre Fleury going to Minnesota. God, that's gonna look so weird. But Marc-Andre Fleury is gonna go to Minnesota for a second round pick, conditional. It goes to a first round pick if Minnesota reaches the conference final, and Fleury has 4 wins in his first 2 rounds. And I like it for both teams. Chicago obviously needs to recuperate first round picks because they traded their first round pick for Seth fucking Jones. And I mean, trading Fleury is gonna help with the tank, so there's that. Unless somehow Kevin Lankinen just goes on a heater, which that would suck for Hawks fans. But I mean, if Minnesota really needed a goalie, Cam Talbot before he got a shutout, was struggling. Kaapo Kähkönen, who we'll talk about literally in like 2 minutes, wasn't doing the best. And they really needed a goalie, and I think Fleury's gonna fit in well in Minnesota. I would assume that Fleury's gonna retire after the season, but hey, who knows? Maybe if Minnesota makes a run, he'll re-sign there. But I really like it for Minnesota.
Yeah, it's a good move. I don't know if the Wild are going to be in the conference final, so I think that's going to end up being a second round pick, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But it's a good move. I like it.
What I was saying during the stream is I think it's insanely bad for the Blackhawks because you're trading away a world-class goaltender in Marc-Andre Fleury, and the best you got back was a second round pick that could be a first if the Wild make the conference finals, which is a huge ask, especially with Colorado, Calgary. Need I go on in the West?
Yeah.
It's really just a big ask. I mean, you could have just not traded him. You could have demanded more. You just didn't get enough back, which is just really porous for the Blackhawks.
Right.
I mean, at the same time, the price wouldn't have been too high either, because if he is going to retire at the end of this year, then you don't really want to pay too much for a guy that's going to play on your team for like 4 months. So if you make it that far,
Fleury had a no movement clause, right? Like I think there's only
maybe it was a verbal one,
right? But there's only very few teams he wanted to go to. Like we know he would have wanted to go to Canada, so Toronto, Edmonton were out of the equation. He wasn't going to go to Washington. There's very few landing spots for Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah, it was a verbal no movement clause, so the Blackhawks could have just traded him anyways, but they honored that request.
And the trade that followed up this one was Kaapo Kähkönen going to San Jose in exchange for Jacob Middleton, and I love this for the Sharks. I really do. It's weird because I thought they were going to trade Aiden Hill or James Reimer, but now they have 3 goalies on the NHL roster, so I wonder what happens there. But I mean, Kaapo Kähkönen, even though he was struggling, he's still only 25 years old, and he's going to be a starter one day. He's had glimpses of flashes of brilliance for the Minnesota Wild. .910 save percentage this year, .913 in his rookie year. Like, there's some potential there, and he can grow with the Sharks team. And Jacob Middleton is a gritty, physical top 4 defenseman. His asking price was a second round pick, and Minnesota basically gave up a 1B young goalie, and I think that's kind of a fair price to give up for a guy like Jacob Middleton. So I think both teams make out well here. I think the slight edge is to the San Jose Sharks, though.
Yeah, you can clearly see that Kähkönen, while he has been pretty bad this year, and well, not even bad, he's just been struggling lately. I do think he's a bit underrated because it's very hard to make a name for yourself when you're a goaltender in the Central Division. When you had Rene, Saros, Grubauer, then Kemper, Ottinger. It's very hard. Hellebuck. It's very hard to make a name for yourself in the Central Division as a goaltender.
Yeah. So next trade, that's whatever. Next trade, we got Justin Braun going to the Rangers for a third round pick, and I like this trade. I like this trade for the Rangers and not so much for Philly because the defenseman market, it was completely fucked coming into the deadline. After Sherrod got that first round pick, you have to overpay for a defenseman. That's it. And I mean, like we talked about Lizon going for a second. We'll talk about Kulak in a sec. I thought Philly could have got a second for Braun, honestly. Like especially since Braun has been very good for a putrid Flyers team. He's had some of the best defensive analytics in the league. I think this is such a good get for the Rangers.
Yeah, Braun's a solid defenseman. I liked him a lot. I was kind of hoping your Oilers, well, maybe not hoping your Oilers would get him, but I thought he would definitely be on that list for sure.
He was, yeah.
Kulak, yeah. So I like the move for the Rangers as well. When you consider the fact that there's just not a great team in front of Shesterkin, so it's just another physical defenseman they can add to him. So I like it. I think it's a good move, and I think he'll do well there. He was doing really well on a really bad defensive team. So
yeah. So. I think it's quite weird how Lizon, I think Ken Holland got mad about the Lizon trade, saying that was what messed with the market, and he called Lizon a rental. But Lizon's not a rental.
It's Ken Holland. What do you expect?
It's Ken Holland being dumb. It's just funny that we only gave up a second for a non-rental. But then you had Ben Sherratt, who's 100% a rental, and it was like 2 firsts or something.
First round pick, and like Tyson
Smilanek, he was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we know about how bad the Ben Sherratt trade is, but I mean, hey, Florida ends up cupping, which they probably will. I don't think they'll be complaining all too much. Next trade, Zach Senyshyn. I mean, you know what he is, old bust. I mean, hey, the Bruins could have had Kyle Connor, Tomas Chabot, and Matthew Barzal. Man, Boston. How do you screw up the 2015 draft that much? Like, you're probably gonna trade Jake DeBrusk in the offseason.
I mean,
is Jacob Zaboral still on the team?
I don't think so.
I need to check this out. Actually,
I'll check it out real quick.
Zaboral on the Bruins?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still there.
He's played 10 games, 3 assists. Oh, that's a yikes. Imagine how good Thomas Chabot would be on that decor. Like with Charlie McAvoy. Like, God, that's so good.
By the way, even if they didn't get any of the guys that you just said, they also could have gotten Igveni. No, he's not very good. They could have gotten
like 20 points this year in Winnipeg.
They could have gotten Brock Besser, Travis Konechny, Ilya Samsonov.
Yeah, when you look at the way their team is, Boston, that draft could have been like kind of the starting point of like another once Marchand goes. Yeah, exactly.
I think hell, if you even took like one of those players we mentioned, Kyle Connor and Matthew Barzal, Brock Besser, I would say it's safe to assume Boston would have won the cup in 2019.
Isn't Kyle Connor from that area? Isn't he from like the Massachusetts area?
I thought he's from Michigan.
Okay, maybe that. Oh, that makes sense because he played in Michigan. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Boston trading a bus, Josh Brown's whatever. But next trade, this is a big one. Arturi Lehkonen going to the Avalanche for Justin Barron and a second-round pick. It was also confirmed today that the Oilers were in on Arturi Lehkonen, and I mean, the price the Avs had to give up. I really like this trade for the Canadians. Justin Barron, I'm so high on. He's going to be such a good defenseman if he just stays healthy. And even though the second-round pick's going to be a bit lower, I mean, you're trading a potential top pair defenseman for a very good. Don't get me wrong, Lehkonen is a very, very good third liner. He could be a decent second liner, but man, Barron's going to be so good for the Habs.
Yeah, I agree. Barron's a really good defenseman. He just needed to get healthy first, but who knows? Who knows what would happen with him? I agree. He's great.
I disagree.
You disagree?
Justin Barron is very good now. But he got the kiss of death by being traded to the Canadians.
Oh, yeah.
Prospects cannot succeed. And I even said this.
Or prospects cannot succeed in Montreal.
And I even said this. Let's list prospects that Montreal has rushed and failed. Alex Galchenyuk. Mikhail Sergachev.
They didn't rush him. They just traded him.
They rushed him, and he was terrible until he got traded.
He played 4 games in his first season. They just gave him the. I don't think we should include Sergachev. That's all right.
If you don't want to include Sergachev, Victor Mete. Romanov is a question mark.
Okay.
Jesperi Kotkaniemi.
Yeah, they effed up KK for sure.
Yeah.
Jared Tenorti.
Oh my God.
Michael McCarron.
Was he a 5th round pick?
No, he was a first-round pick.
He was a first-round pick.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm listing every
Oh,
single player on.
He's a London Knights legend. He's a London Knights legend.
Yeah, in 2013, I totally forgot about that.
Matt LeBlanc.
Louis LeBlanc, I thought.
I think I said
Matt LeBlanc.
Whatever.
Matt LeBlanc.
Whatever.
Yeah, Louis LeBlanc.
Basically, going to Montreal as a prospect is it's death.
Well, it looked like it for Cole Caulfield until St. Louis came in. He's playing well now.
Yeah, sure. Man,
It's a trend, but it doesn't always happen. I'll say that.
But
there's some rare exceptions. Nick Suzuki's been good.
Yeah, he's been okay.
Yeah, can't really think about anyone else right now. Maybe Gallagher. Gallagher's been good. I mean,
let's just say the list is a lot longer in the sense that they waste more prospects.
That's fair. But yeah, I like for both teams. Hopefully they don't fuck up Justin Barron because I'm so high on him. Next trade. This is for sure an overpay. Nick Leddy going to St. Louis in exchange for Oscar Sundqvist, who got 2 points yesterday. He also scored. There's a trend where players are scoring their first with their new teams. Jake Waldman in a second-round pick. I'll let Rossi do the trolling here, so go ahead.
Let's just say this. St. Louis, what you should have been trying to do is you should have been trying to move Binnington more. You should have tried to buy him out or something. Now you're going to have to pick Binnington over Husso and get rid of Husso because you decided to pay Binnington so much. You gave up Sundqvist, Wallman, and a second-round pick for Nick Leddy, and Nick Leddy isn't good anymore. So
he's like one of the worst defensemen analytically too. I know it's Detroit, but still.
It's pretty funny. There's two teams in the Central that are pretty much fucked next year. One of them is St. Louis, as, let's face it, St. Louis wouldn't be a playoff team if it wasn't for Husso. And the other team is Minnesota, and if you look at them, they have, $12 million in dead cap next year.
I still don't get the Parise. I get the Parise buyout. I don't get Ryan Suter at all. That one was a dumb decision. And yeah, years 2 to 5, that buyout is I can see. That's why I'm surprised Minnesota didn't do more at the deadline. They still needed a number 1 center. So I was like, that's it. It's probably your last chance to really go all in with all this cap space. You need a centerman. I'm kind of surprised Minnesota didn't do more. Now that we're mentioning the.
All right, here's the buyouts. Next year it's 12.7. After that it's 14.7. After that it's 14.7.
14.7 in dead cap space. Yeah, Minnesota better win the cup this year. That's all I'm saying, or at least make it to the cup finals. Next trade, Andrew Hammond. That's whatever. Johan Larson going to Washington for a 3rd-round pick. I mean, it's whatever. Depth forward. He's a really good defensive guy. Arizona's stacking up on draft picks. Nothing really much else to say here. Besides, Kevin Weeks breaking his trade with a bucket on his head.
Yeah, Kevin Weeks was just legendary this trade deadline. It was great.
I mean, who doesn't love Weeksy, eh?
Yeah.
Who doesn't love Kevin Weeks? Couple of future considerations here. It's whatever. The next big trade, Andrew Kopp going to the Rangers in exchange for Morgan Barron. Is he related to Justin Barron?
I don't believe so. I don't know.
If they are, both the freaking brothers get traded.
Keep saying Barron, it's Barron.
Yeah. I don't care. All right, I don't care.
Just because he's on Montreal doesn't make him French. He's not Barron.
Actually, hold up. Morgan's from Halifax. Where is Justin?
Oh,
from?
Justin. Okay, they might be related then.
He's from I guess they are related. So both the brothers get traded on the deadline. That must suck. That must really suck. But yeah, Justin Morgan Barron going to the Jets. He's having a decent year in the AHL. There's some potential there. But they also get 2 second-round picks in exchange for Andrew Kopp. I love this deal for the Jets. I think Kopp's a very good player. He's obviously a rental for the Rangers. But, I mean, you're getting back potential middle six forward and Morgan Barron, and 2 second-round picks. And like, I don't think the Rangers are going to be that good in the playoffs. So those second-round picks actually might be pretty high. I think it's a pretty good trade for the Jets.
By the way, yes, Morgan Barron is Justin Barron's older brother.
Okay. Yeah, man. Terrible day for the family.
I mean, only terrible for Justin because he went to fucking Montreal.
Hopefully Morgan can get some playtime in Winnipeg. What else? Zach Sanford going to Winnipeg too for a 5th-round pick. Sens fans hate this guy for some reason. I don't know. I think Sanford's okay. Like, I think he's a good, probably, ideally you want him on your 4th line. He had a 30-point year. He had a 30-point season in 2019-20. So I mean, there's some offensive production there. He's mostly just a big body. He throws around his weight. Seems to be average defensively. I don't know. It only cost him a 5th-round pick. I don't think it's that bad of a trade for the Jets.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he was so hated by Sens fans.
Yeah, I guess in my opinion, this trade is Zach Sanford could well in doubt find another gear with Winnipeg.
Right. And who knows? Like, maybe, like, he's also traded for Logan Brown, who's looking to be a bust right now. What was he, like 11th overall in 2016?
Yeah. Pretty high, yeah.
Yeah, so it's whatever. Next team, and I call this trade for a month. All right, so I'm an insider. Ricard Raquel going to the Penguins in exchange for a 2nd.
I have taught you well.
I've taught you well. I'm the new
well.
Nostradamus of the podcast, but Ricard Raquel.
Excuse me?
You heard me, buddy. Ricard Raquel going to the Penguins in exchange for a 2nd. Kale Clay, very good defensive forward, and Zach Aston-Reese and Dominic Simone. Nick, what are your thoughts?
I like the move, especially considering we didn't have to give him a 1st-round pick. Zach Aston-Reese might sting for a little bit, but I think he's pretty replaceable in my opinion. He had some really good defensive metrics, but I think for a bottom 6 guy you want as a defensive forward, it's pretty easy to find through free agency pretty much every single year. Mm-hmm. We didn't have to give up any of our bigger prospects like Poulin or Pierre-Olivier Joseph. I like the move a lot. Dominic Simone's another player that's also pretty really replaceable. He's not the best forward either. And then getting a top 6 scoring winger. So I like it a lot. He has the ability to score 30 goals. He's done it before. And if you play him next to Crosby, who knows what could happen. So I'm not sure if they're going to split up that top line. He might be playing with Malkin for a bit. But, yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's a good price to pay for a guy like Raquel. So I like it.
I mean, I don't really think that you can I don't think you can really replace Aston Reese. I mean, his advanced analytics were 99% defense, and that's just that's really good.
He was really good on defense on the defensive line, but you also have guys like Bluger who's really good defensively as well. I think at the end of the day, you can find someone that's kind of similar to him, maybe not as good defensively, like analytically as he was. But
I mean, you have Radim Horna, right?
And he's good.
You have Valtteri Puustinen. There's guys in Pittsburgh.
There's definitely guys there, I feel like people aren't really too aware of guys like Puustinen. Bjorkqvist is a guy as well that's I feel like not a lot of people know. He scored I think on his debut. So I think that's his name. Yeah. Kasper Bjorkqvist. He's pretty good as well. He's a bigger guy. Can play in that bottom 6 in the future, possibly for Pittsburgh. So
I'm just surprised Anaheim took Klang because they have Dostal. They got Stolars. They got Gibson. How many more goalie prospects do you need?
Kling's having a pretty good year in the Swedish league. We also have kind of a lot of goalie prospects there as well, which is why the move really made sense for the Penguins there. So I'm not sure what Anaheim's thinking with his plans of him, but he's having a good year down there. So we'll see what happens with him. Goalies are weird.
Yeah. Next trade, the Oilers sending Will Lagesson in a 2nd-round pick, conditional 2nd-round pick for Brett Kulak. Condition is that the Oilers reach the Cup final and Keefe plays in. I'm not kidding. This is the condition, and Keefe plays in all the games, and he averages top 4 ice time in the league. Such a weird ass condition. Montreal will receive the 2023 2nd-round pick instead, and I like this trade for you. I think it's a fair trade for both. I think Kulak's a really underrated defenseman. For the last 3 years, he's 94th percentile defensively, and especially this year, he's been one of the better defensive defenseman players in the league on a terrible Habs team. He has some offensive instincts there. He's from Edmonton, and especially with how the market was shaping up, I think a second round pick is what you have to pay. I think Kulak is if Kulak can fix some of his issues offensively too, I think he's a fine second pair defenseman. And I get it. Ideally, you probably want him on the third pair, but with his strong defensive numbers, especially on the Habs team, I think it's a good price to give up. Lagesson wasn't playing much here anyways. He's really not that good. He's already 26. Chances are he's not gonna grow much further. He's probably just number 7 guy. And yeah, I think it's a good trade for the Oilers. They should probably look into extending Kulak to make the second more worth giving up. But I think I really like it for the Oilers. I think this is a rare Ken Holland W.
That's what I was going to say about Kulak as well. As I thought they'd maybe look into extending him, especially because he's from Edmonton.
Yeah,
he's a good puck mover. I think I like the move for Edmonton quite a bit as well. I didn't really have to pay too much to get him, so not bad, Holland. Good job.
Yeah.
I wonder if Lizon wasn't traded, what the hell Holland would have done, because the way he made it seem.
It probably would have been a third round pick in Lagesson, honestly.
Maybe.
But that's why I'm clowning the Bronch, and you could have gotten more. You could have gotten way more, especially with how the D market was shaping up. But it's whatever. Next trade, Derek Brassard going to the Oilers in exchange for a 2023 fourth round pick, 50% retained. So his cap is at $400K, which is crazy to me. It's crazy how much the Oilers are in cap trouble, where the other team has to retain 50% on basically a league minimum contract. That's insane to me. But I like it. I like it for the Oilers. It just really strengthens their bottom 6, adds more depth scoring. And I mean, that forward core just got a bit scary. And I know Brassard's obviously not the player as he used to be, but he's playing. The big thing for the Oilers is that they need more playoff veterans. This is a guy that's played in 170 playoff games. He's just under half a point per game in the playoffs, which is huge. So for the Oilers only give up a 4th round pick in 2023, I think they did well here.
Yeah, I agree. He was actually pretty good in the Flyers when he played. He was just under a point a game. I think you were just saying there, but with the Flyers, and it seemed like when he was in the lineup, they're actually winning, along with when they had Ryan Ellis. So I think it's a sneaky good move for the Oilers there, especially to get him at that cheap of a contract, like $300-400K. That's nothing for him. So I think he's playing. Is he played yet for the Oilers? I'm not sure if he was slotted
he's playing
somewhere.
Tomorrow though. Him and Clark will make their debuts tomorrow.
Okay. Do you know where he's projected to play? Because I'm not sure. I don't know if it's.
I don't know where he's projected to play, but he said he's going to start on the wing, so that's all we know.
So yeah, that's not bad at all for the Oilers, because he can play center too, can he?
Yeah, he's a very versatile player.
Yeah, so that's not a bad move at all.
One of the Oilers media members said he's such a good PKer, but he never averages more than 15 penalty PK minutes in a season. So he's not a PKer, but whatever. Our media is just stupid. Another good trade. Seeking a trade. Vlad Mcbengal going to the Dallas Stars in exchange for a 2024 4th-round pick. These bottom 6 players going for mid-round picks. He's having a good year in Detroit. 25 points in 60 games. I mean, Mcbengal has basically played everywhere, right? He's played in Tampa. He's played in the Rangers. He's played with Ottawa. I think he played with Colorado too.
Yep.
He's just. You know what you're getting in the Mcbengal. He's just a good bottom 6 2-way forward. He can chip in offensively. He's good for a playoff run. He didn't cost you anything.
Yeah, I agreed pretty much everything you said there.
For sure.
Rossi, it has been dead. What's going on?
There's not much to talk about on my end. I feel like a lot of these trades we surmised already on the stream.
I guess, yeah.
Well, it wasn't on the stream, so I kind of got more to say. But
yeah.
Right.
I mean, I was for a little bit.
I think that we should just skip to the ones that weren't announced until we were finished.
Right. We're almost there. We only have a couple more trades to go. Andrew Cogliano going to the Avalanche in exchange for a 5th-round pick. I mean, at this point, Cogliano's a depth forward. He's had 15 points in 56 games for the Sharks. He's probably on the 4th line for the Avs. Still a really good PKer. I mean, I don't think he really threads it, that much, but it's whatever.
He's very good. He's a very good pickup because I don't know if anybody else watches. has to watch the Avalanche as much as I do because they're in our division, but he helps the Avalanche in the sense that the best way to beat the Avalanche this year is literally just make them play defense.
Really?
Yeah. If you can make the Avalanche play defense, they will make very big mistakes, and you can beat them pretty easily. And Cogliano helps that a lot.
Yeah, he's a really good defensive forward, and Cogliano hasn't won a cup yet, so maybe he retires this season because I don't know. I don't see a team really taking a chance on him next season. The offensive impact's going down. He's not he can't really keep up to the NHL speed. So this is basically his last chance to win a cup. Ryan Carpenter goes to the Flames for a 5th-round pick. That's basically whatever. Just that player for Calgary. I mean, they already got Yarncrow and Toffoli, so they made their big acquisitions before. Now, a trade I do like for the Rangers, Tyler Mott. They only gave him a 4th-round pick, which for me that's so cheap. I love Tyler Mott. I think he's such a good defensive forward. He's an excellent PKer. I think he's a bit underrated in his offensive skill too. And he only went for a 4th-round pick. I honestly thought he could have went for a 3rd.
By the way, just a bit ago, it was confirmed that Tyler Mott wanted to stay in Vancouver, and the only reason he was traded is because he wanted $2 million in his next deal.
I would have gave Mott $2 million easily.
Don't ask me what fucking
that's
Vancouver's doing.
JR. That's a common JRL. I don't know. This is the same team that was thinking about trading Brock Besser instead of JT Miller, right? So
it's also the same team that pays Halak what they pay him.
He makes like 1.25.
Yes. Still.
We're paying Mike Smith $2.2 million. The dude just turned 40 yesterday. He has another year left on his deal.
Okay, but that's literally just Ken Holland being dumb.
Oh man, Kenny. Anyways, I like the trade for the Rangers. I like the trade for the Rangers. A trade that kind of went under the radar.
Well, this trade wasn't actually announced until we finished, so we're actually at the point where it's all the trades that we didn't see.
Correct. Victor Rask going to Seattle for future considerations. So basically, if you remember Niederreiter for the Rask trade, the Minnesota Wild traded Nino Niederreiter for future considerations. Shit. What a trade. Not like Nino Niederreiter has been doing very well on. It's not like, man. Anyways, Victor Rask, 13 points in 29 games for the Wild this season. That's not bad. That's slightly under half point per game. 10 points in 10 AHL games. I don't know why. I don't really get this trade from Minnesota's perspective. Were they trying to clear up some cap room to make another move?
It certainly looks like it.
Well, also you don't want to be paying Victor Rask $2 million.
$4 million. They retained half.
Oh yeah, they don't want to be paying him $4 million, especially.
Well, what was the point? They didn't make another move that day besides Flurry.
Well, they have a lot of better options that they can go to too. So,
I guess. For Seattle, they're just getting back a body, probably a 3rd bottom 6 guy. Pretty sure Victor Rask has actually been pretty good defensively this year too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. This is actually one trade I agree with when it comes to the Minnesota Wild this year.
All right. Now a pretty underwhelming, not so underwhelming, but the return has been underwhelming. Max Domi going to the Carolina Hurricanes in exchange for Aiden Hershuk. And that's it, just 1-for-1. And I don't know much about Aiden Hershuk. I know he was drafted last season. He has 8 points in 37 games for Boston College, so not the greatest.
Yeah, Aiden Hershuk is he's more of an offensive defenseman. I think he was really highly touted going into when he was playing for the development team. He wasn't really given a lot of ice time on that team either. And Boston College, he's not having a great year, but it's still only his first year in Boston College. I feel like the NCAA players, they sometimes need a little bit of time because it's full competition. So yeah. I still am a big believer in Hershuk. I think he went a bit too low in his draft year, so I liked him. So I'm hoping he can probably grow the next couple of years or so at Boston College, because it is a good team. It's a good school. I also don't think Boston College were the greatest team either. I think it was either them or Boston University that were on like a really long losing streak this year, if I can remember correctly. So who knows? I mean, he could probably become better next year as well. So it's not a terrible move, I don't think.
Right.
It's such a weird sort of situation because the Hurricanes got Domi and Inamoto, who is currently playing in Wisconsin, and then the Panthers got Igor Korshkov, and then they also got a 6th-round pick. So it's like the two teams that weren't trading away Max Domi got
a better return.
Yeah, got a better return. So it's quite dumb for the Blue Jackets.
But I guess they have to make a move, right? Just
here's my.
It's one of those moves where you have to make a move, like even though you don't have to. But
here's my opinion: if there's a point in time where you're debating on whether to make a move or not, and it's a pretty small move, don't make the move because it'll just hurt you.
Right. And that's about it. Actually, there's technically one more trade if we want, we can include it. I think
it'll take way too long.
We can include it. I think we can include it. So, Evgeny Dadonov was supposed to be traded to the Anaheim Ducks, along with a 2nd-round pick for the contract of Ryan Kessler and John Moore. And what happened was Dadonov had the Ducks on his no-trade list, but the no-trade list wasn't filed to the NHL. So Vegas, it's such a weird story. Vegas said Ottawa didn't give him the no-trade clause list, but you kind of have to make that trade go through, and like it's a weird situation. And it just got voided today, but like it's so weird. I don't think this has ever happened before.
See, what doesn't make sense is how do you not know that your player has a no trade clause?
Literally just go on fucking Cap Friendly and it tells you.
Or not even that. How did Ottawa fail to tell them? What are you guys doing?
I think they did tell him. That's what the league came out with. Like Ottawa informed them that he has a no trade clause. Maybe didn't tell them what teams were on it, but still. I feel so bad for Dadonov right now too. Like,
yeah, it's an awkward situation.
Now you have to go back to a team that had to pay to dump you. Like that's so awkward. That must suck.
That's not even the worst part of it.
What's the worst part?
How much Vegas is over the cap and how much they have to fix it.
That's not the worst part. That's the best part. I don't want Vegas being good.
I mean, it's the worst part for Vegas.
It's the worst part for Vegas, but everyone else loves it.
Basically, I'm pretty sure they have to forcefully remove Mark Stone and Alex Martinez from long-term injured reserve, if I remember correctly.
They have to clear up $4 million to like activate Martinez, but who are you gonna clear up?
Yeah.
Like you can't if you want to put Riley Smith on LTIR to activate Martinez, okay, fine. You still have no scoring. Also, can we just blame Jack Eichel for the 19 woes?
Yes.
He has 11 points in 18 games. Oh, Jack Eichel. The curse continues.
Yep.
He's literally the new Matthew Shane.
That's what I said. Exactly. That's exactly what I said.
At least Matt Duchene managed to break his curse.
Actually, no, he's a new Taylor Hall.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Heard that, yeah.
A bit.
Yeah, they have to remove Mark Stone and Alec Martinez from long-term injured reserve.
But they have to clear up. How are you going to clear up $9.5 million to activate Mark Stone? That's impossible. Unless you want to put back Jack Eichel on LTIR.
I don't know what they can do, but
and the Knights have 16 games left. The Knights have to win 11 out of their next 16 to basically to make the playoffs. And I know the Knights have, I think, according to Tankathon, they're 29th. Hold on, let me just double check. Tankathon has the 31st in strength of schedule, which means they have the second easiest schedule in the league. But still, 11 out of 16, that's hard for any team. Like, I just don't know. I don't think Vegas is going to make it.
Vegas won't make it unless they get Leonard back.
But even then, you can have good goaltending. You need a score. They haven't scored a goal in their past 2 games.
Brisson,
and I get it. Brossoit and I'm not gonna blame Logan Thompson. The dude's 22. Like, it's not his fault. Brossoit guy has to play better. And I know he isn't a starter, obviously, but still, you gotta get those. You gotta get some goal scoring support.
Well, yeah, you're moved into that situation where you're obviously your best goaltender goes down in Robin Lehner, and then you're left with kind of a void. But then on top of that, not only is he gone, but then you lose all of your scoring capabilities.
But it's not But the thing with Vegas is there's still good players on that team. There's still William Karlsson, Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel exists. Max, Jonathan Marchessault, Riley Smith, Chandler Stevenson. There's still players on this team that can score.
It honestly makes me think of last year's Nashville Predators, where they
got decimated by injuries.
No, not even the injury part. They just had a lot of big names that should have been scoring a lot, but none of them really did.
Right. This kind of reminds me of the 16-17 Lightning too, where they missed the playoffs by 1 point, but it's because everyone got injured. Stamkos got injured game 20 of the season. I'm pretty sure Jonathan Drouin was injured for quite some time. They had Victor Hedman was injured that year. They've had a lot of injuries, but with Vegas, it's been a rotating door of injuries. But still, missing the play. Friedman said that missing the playoffs in Vegas is not an option. So
yeah, and
if they miss, I would assume Peter DeBoer is out. But I'm not sure if that's gonna do anything really.
Okay, but if we're gonna be honest, it's not just on Peter DeBoer, and it's not on injuries, because here's the thing: every team gets injured. The Predators were injured to hell last year. The Kings are extremely injured this year. You have to find ways to win, especially now in the regular season.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to find ways to win, and Vegas hasn't been able to do that. And not only that, but they're in cap hell, and that's management's fault.
It's also management's fault for not. The worst thing about Vegas's management is that they're not loyal. They don't give a crap about they don't give I don't think they care about their players. You saw that with Marc-Andre Fleury. You saw that with Nate Schmidt. You saw that with there's some other player that got traded that spoke about their management, but they're not loyal to any of their players, and they literally just did it to Dadonov. If I'm a player, would I even want to play for the Vegas Golden Knights? I know we're getting way off topic here from the trade deadline, but it's an interesting topic to bring up. Why would anyone want to play for Vegas?
Well, not only that, but
besides the city and the team, obviously, the management sucks.
Then players that do get rewarded and the team decides to remain loyal to them, the fans turn on them. Robin Lehner, fans despise for some reason. Then you had apparently now it's a lot of the hatred is being turned on what's his name? I'm blanking. Not Petrangelo. A lot of the hate is now being forced towards Riley Smith.
What did Riley Smith do?
I don't know, but Vegas fans are literally so gung-ho on attacking players for no reason.
They're not real hockey fans, man. They got to witness their team make it the Cup Finals first year. They're not real fans. Smith has 38 points in 56 games. That's good. That's really good. What? That's in the 82-game season. That's a 56-point pace.
It just sucks, man. Their fans suck. Their team sucks.
Their media sucks.
Twitter admin sucks. Yeah.
Everything sucks about Vegas, man.
They even somehow made this year's All-Star game suck.
Oh, that was how. Yeah, that was getting started. That's an entirely different video. I don't even want to get into it.
Johnny Ham giving Petrangelo the edge in the whatever it's called, the breakaway challenge. I don't know.
Whoever approved Machine Gun Kelly's concert. You need to be fired.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was awful. We've been going like for 48 minutes now. I think it's safe to end it there. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And thank you guys for the support. It's been a pretty big month for the channel. We're gonna have a lot more content, especially in the summer. And our next video probably near playoff time, I would assume, unless
we'll probably start making smaller incremental videos, just updating the standings and happenings.
Some updates, yeah, but thanks everyone for watching. We got a month to go in the season, and stay tuned till next time.